how to deal with perfectionism. Is it debilitating to you? Do you see it that you're using it as a coping mechanism? Are you ready to transcend that coping mechanism? Stick around in this video and we're going to go step by step. For everybody who is new, I'm Kosta and I'm an intuitive speaker. Check out in the description below what I'm doing, and if you get called to interact with me, there's plenty of ways to do it. Let's get going. I took a lot of notes over here, and I wanted to say that by the end of it, we're gonna sit also and loosen up the grip from the frequency of perfectionism. That's what I've been called to do since the last video. I have this process that's called curiosity formula, and the first 2 out of 4 steps are actually loosening up the grip from survival, or detaching the survival both from positive or negative emotions, in order to be able to go and live more for preference. And so I'm being called for now to do the first 2 steps, because without them, without loosening up the grip to what is, without loosening up the grip of that survival attached to that emotion, there's really no change that sticks around. So we're gonna do that today, and before we go there, I'm gonna share the personal example what really inspired this video. Actually, funny enough, I had this name of this video already written about maybe a month ago, and I forgot about it. And then I had a situation yesterday with Armand in a car that caused really a deep conversation between us about this. Well, first caused the upheaval. There was like a very strong trigger that came in as I was driving, and I was not paying really attention. I mean, I was driving normally, but you know, maybe not 100% present, and this guy honked at me, you know, to prevent for me to pay attention, and I did. And I was kind of like, you know, this happens. Doesn't happen all the time to me, but you know, I do the same thing to other people, you know, when they're not paying attention. So I'm kind of like not making a big deal out of it. But the guy wants to lower the, he's lowering his window in order to I don't know, teach me a lesson, tell me to pay attention, whatever he wanted to tell me. And I just didn't want to have it, because I didn't want to go and buy into that. I was like, you don't need to teach me a lesson. I know what I did. I am aware of my mistake, but I do not want to like judge it now. You know what I mean? Like, I just went through this whole process within me very quickly, but I could see Armand being upset, and we're together with our son Alexander in a car as well. And that triggered with him this whole thing about perfectionism. Now, both of us have that, and there's something we have in common, is that through our individual raising, both of us have this feeling of making the image on good and being good at things, and we are really good at things, but we've both had a lot of survival attached to it, attached to the actual place of success. And so everything that's out of ordinary for that, I've been working like over the last 2 years, because 2 years ago this really popped up for me on the surface. I've been working on it, you know, just to accept that I've been perfectionist, that I, you know, did not want to admit I was making a mistake, that I would be righteous. And sure enough, you know, I could start seeing this now in Armand too. And anyways, this whole moment triggered a very heated conversation. And since I'm not triggered, meaning when these situations happen, I do have a trigger about it, but I'm not spiraling down with it. I've developed the ability to actually start transforming and alchemizing that frequency as it comes up. And I actually started accepting to do that through anger, meaning to do that through a strong emotion of saying, I do not want this anymore. And so if you were to hear the conversation we were having, you could be like, what is he doing? And you know, he's just projecting. But I was actually just saying no to the frequency. I did not impose or try to change our mind in the moment and say, just drop it and don't let me, you know, let me just, you know, don't judge me for my mistake, so to speak. I was just talking to the frequency of judging a mistake or of that perfectionism, and I was saying no to that at all, because that is the first step of putting the boundary, of saying no, I don't want this anymore. And so I did it very, very strongly in a way. And then there was this whole conversation, about it, because I was like, I really, I've lived it. I know you're still living it, but I really want us, I really want to not judge the mistake like I used to. And so, yeah, I just wrote down here, it's okay to get angry at the program. That's exactly what I did, because it doesn't matter if the situation like this happens and you are having it actively within you, or you started transcending it, but it still shows up through other people. It's still just the program or the frequency that wants to be alchemized and changed. And so the first step is to make a statement that you want to be done with that program, in this case, perfectionism or not making a mistake. And then I'm going to talk about this. Oh yeah, I'm going to talk about the difference between getting sucked in by trigger point as well. So I don't digress. Being in the play, I'm just gonna take a second here because I just went on a tangent. So in order to stop transforming something that you see as a pattern within, you have to say stop to it. And if that comes through a strong emotion such as anger, or such as feeling rebellious, or such as saying you shall not pass, that's totally fine, people. And I started embracing that more and more, because I know that that anger that comes through, or that being fed up with it, has nothing to do with Armand, has nothing to do with another person. And I'm gonna make a separate video about this. I wrote over here the difference between being sucked in by the trigger point or riding the power of the trigger point. And I call that, I don't even know why, because I'm not into this terminology at all, but it felt like a 3D versus 5D negative emotion. How does it feel when we direct the anger horizontally towards one another, and when does it feel when we just let it come through and discharge vertically? And so in this particular case, I know I did not do it horizontally, because the aftermath of that was by the end of that experience in the car, everything was great, and Armand was like, well, that was intense, but thank you. That was the feedback, which would never happen before. It would be, taking time individually to calibrate or whatever. So anyways, I wanted to share that experience with you, and I wanted to share, and in a second we're gonna go and sit with it. But anyways, where are you on this topic? Where are you on an emotion of perfectionism? Do you see it as a coping mechanism for you to survive? Do you recognize that probably something happened? We're not gonna get into whys, but something happened along the way in your life, and you made it that it's not okay to make a mistake, especially when we get into the bubble of channeling, non-physical, pure, this whole opening up that we have. And sometimes we hear the possibilities, and then we start gripping on possibilities, and then it's so much stress and contrast and resistance we bring because of that. Where are you? Just be honest with yourself for a second. And actually, as I go through this little, it's not even activation, it's just more like a scanning of where you're at, you're gonna be able to sense it. So let's just go ahead and do that. You can close your eyes for a second if you want to, or if you cannot do this now, save the video for later and do it. Just close your eyes, put your attention to your heart center in the middle of your chest. Again, this first part has nothing to do with going up. We're not gonna go into possibilities, probabilities. We're not gonna run away with it. We're just gonna sit with it. And so you say, it would be nice for me not to feel perfectionism, or not to put the pressure on myself to never make a mistake, but it's not a must. And sit with it for a second. Does this ring true for you? Do you feel like you can allow yourself not to judge a mistake? Because if you do, then you're not in perfectionism, and great. If this is not a must, if this doesn't cause you any kind of upheaval, if it does, it's okay, sit with it. and you can continue some other time when you stabilize this first sentence. The second one is, I love the idea of not making a mistake, but it's not a necessity. See where you're there honestly. So if this is already settled, perfect, we're gonna do the third little part just to solidify this. If not, again, you can give it a try at some other time. And the third one is, if this was never to change, if I was to continue to make mistakes, or if I was to feel this pressure of perfectionism at all time, so be it. It's okay. It has nothing to do with my survival. The quality of my life experience would not be the same, but it has nothing to do with my survival. Allow that survival to be detached from the frequency of perfectionism or from this emotion of perfectionism. And just allow your presence to grow as this shit of perfectionism that came up is still there and cannot really shake you. Perfect. Now give your attention back to your heart center. These first steps, 2 steps, guys, are like putting the foundation of going into your desire. So putting the wonderful foundation of everything you've been before, everything that you are right now, and springing into your preference, springing into the desire. These 2 first steps are essential so you can focus on giving attention to what you want and then getting curious about it and all the good stuff that is obviously where we want to go. And that is also the part of the of my process. So if you're getting called, whether for a one-time consultation or maybe to dive in on some topics like this in a month of transformation, you can click the links below and hit me up. I'm very excited. In the biggest transformation of my life during this summer, I'm taking advantage of all of this natural energy and light that's on a planet during the summertime. I've never done it before. And so if you want to join in on the awesomeness of that for your own transformation, I'm very, very happy to share the space. Love you. Mwah. Bye.